Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. On Wednesday evening, Stuart Alderati, which is Ripple's chief legal officer, shared the post that's on your screen right now and wrote, "Good news for the 55 million Americans who own crypto." And what was he referencing right here? Well, it's this story. U.S. regulator orders Fannie Mae Freddie Mac to consider crypto for mortgages. So let me ask you, folks, and actually I would love to hear how you feel about this in the comment section below. How do you feel about using your XRP as collateral to buy your mansion? Because that's something that actually might be in the cards. And for people that are listening to this in 2025, before this market cycle is concluded, and who have sufficiently planned, I think there are a lot of people that are going to have, let's just say, ridiculously high net worths, especially compared to where they are right now, because this cycle ain't done. Now, of course, there are some strings attached to this and some question marks, and this still has to, there's an approval process that has to move forward, even in terms of allowing this. When I say approval, I wasn't in that moment referencing an individual approval process, although, of course, there's that. We're talking about a mortgage here. But the fact that we haven't been able to count crypto holdings, even if it's a massive part of our net worth, that hasn't ever been considered for getting approved in a mortgage. Like, literally, you could have a net worth that's like tens of millions of dollars, and if it's 100% in crypto, the banks might just be like, nope. Things, they are a changing, though, my friends. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, of course, I understand, by the way, your XRP, if it goes to Moontown, kind of like a lot of us are expecting, I also understand that you might just use that to buy a mansion. Like, I understand for some people that will be a reality, but if you want to hold on to your crypto and use it as collateral, that might be an option moving forward, which I still think is nice either way, because I know that there will be people that would like that flexibility. Anyway, the U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency, which is the FHFA for short, has ordered home mortgage purchasers, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, to consider how to count cryptocurrencies as assets in their risk assessments for some home loans. FHFA Director William J. Pulte told both of the government-sponsored enterprises, which are GSEs for short, in a letter on Wednesday to prepare a proposal for consideration of cryptocurrency as an asset for reserves in their respective single-family mortgage loan risk assessments without conversion of said cryptocurrency to US dollars. And so that's his quote. And I am very glad that he specifically cited without having to sell your crypto, because otherwise that would be the easy way out for any sort of proposal that these government officials might put forth. Oh yeah, that's no problem. Just take your XRP and your Bitcoin and liquidate it to zero, and then you can have that can count as collateral. Then you can maybe invest it in the S&P 500. Okay, although I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. Like, frankly, I'm anticipating that by the time this cycle's done, there will have been, at least for me on a personal level, and I hope this is true for you guys too, I'm hoping that it has become such a ridiculous portion of my overall net worth that I will feel like the only reasonably responsible thing I could do is to diversify into other asset classes. Whether it's even just investing more into the stock market, S&P 500, stuff like that. Property makes sense. There's all sorts of things that you can do anyway. But I still will understand that the quickest way to continue to make more money, and that's, well, I'll jump back into the bear market, is to keep investing in crypto. It's cyclical, but anyway. Peace continues. The order means the two GSEs could consider potential borrowers' crypto holdings when they apply for a mortgage, which Pulte said has not typically been considered, and that's a quote, in mortgage risk assessments without first converting the crypto to US dollars. The FHFA has overseen Fannie Mae, or the Federal National Mortgage Association, and Freddie Mac, the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation, since 2008, when both institutions were placed under government conservatorship in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have played a critical role in the U.S. housing market since the subprime mortgage crisis, providing liquidity and stability by purchasing mortgages from lenders which enables lenders to issue more loans. And you guys remember how this all kicked off, right? Ridiculous home loans to people that shouldn't have gotten approved for them. And then you package that crap debt up into a bigger package, and then you sell that off. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually actually people default and everything falls apart. That's what actually happened. So it actually came down to irresponsible lending. So there's a way to do this smart with crypto, but I will say this, you have to factor in volatility. There's no way not to. Like, I acknowledge, and it's just true, it's actually why I'm here, the cryptocurrency asset class is the most volatile asset class on the entire planet, but that's why I love it. Because just ask yourself, what's the purpose of investing? Well, I mean, of course, number go up. You could say stuff like that. Well, yeah, you want your investment to come worth more. But volatility is the purpose of investing, right? Without volatility, what are we even doing here? Do you, quote unquote, invest in something and then expect it to be literally worth the same amount 10 years in the future? No, of course not. And so the only way for it to be worth more is to embrace volatility. And so that's why I love crypto, because it trends upward despite massive pullbacks, and I've endured all of them for the last 7.5 years. Every single one of them bad bitches I've endured, but it's trended to the upside. It just has. And so that being said, though, I'm just being a realist here. I recognize that in terms of getting approved, you've got to factor in for that volatility. So maybe there would be some proposed restrictions, this or that, who knows? But here's the key thing. It's not going to be zero. It's not going to be, oh, you have crypto, we're accounting that 0% for your mortgage application. It's not going to be that. It's going to be something. And so, yes, I think it's only fair to factor in the volatility, but don't make it zero. Whatever you're factoring in, make it something, obviously, especially if you're talking about reputable large caps like XRP. Like, why would you not? Come on. It's obviously the case that XRP is here to stay. But anyway, Peace continues. Pulte said on X that the decision to include cryptocurrencies as part of the mortgage risk assessment came after significant studying and aligns with Donald Trump's goal to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. Yeah, so it's obviously true that the war on crypto, it's just more evidence. It's over. War on crypto's over. I mean, you got to dot some I's, cross some T's, wrap some stuff up, Ripple. But it's all going away, and it's going to be fine. And as Eleanor Terrett pointed out here, and Pulte brought this up, you may not be thrilled about this, but look at this. Only assets on U.S. regulated exchanges would qualify with safeguards for volatility. Okay, the volatility part, like I already said my piece on that. Fine. Just don't make it so that those assets count as zero, because that's just stupid. STOOPID, stupid. But this would force you, if you want your crypto net worth to be factored into a mortgage to buy your XRP mansion, should this go forward anyway, and it sounds like it will, that would mean that you have to keep your crypto, your beloved XRP, on exchange. Which, look, there are trade-offs to everything in life. To me, for most people, like I do not think that's the best idea. There's pros and cons, and I know the Bitcoin maxis like to pretend like the only way to go forward is to engage in self-custody. That's stupid. Different strokes for different folks. Not everybody's going to remotely feel comfortable with that level of responsibility, and there are tons of reasons for that. But still, forcing people to keep their crypto on exchange, or else that it doesn't count. So if you engage in self-custody, it doesn't count. And you can see why they do this. It's because the perception here, and perhaps rightly so, I hate to say it, is that probably an exchange is less likely to have an oops-a-doodles and accidentally lose access to holdings, so on and so forth. And I say that recognizing that there have been historic hacks, there have been actual Ponzi schemes, so on and so forth, so you need to have proper oversight. But especially if it's a publicly traded company and there's sufficient transparency. But man, I am not a fan of keeping crypto on exchanges. Like, especially if it's enough that it would matter in terms of you getting approval for a mortgage, that quantity you're going to keep on an exchange? What type? Look, if we ever get to a world where that makes sense, I just want to know what safeguards are in place for the everyday people like you and me. Like, say that's us in the future. what are the safeguards in place so that if you get hacked, like, we're actually fine and we're covered 100%? If there's something there, then okay. But could they even actually do that? Because with the nature of crypto and these hacks, it's not, I mean, you can't just roll back blockchains. I mean, that's okay. You can have a whole conversation about that. I'm just saying you can't count on that being the case, right? And not every chain can be rolled back, obviously. And then that could result in forks, so on and so forth. So that's technically a broader conversation, but you get the cut of my jib, right? I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it, folks. I'm not doing it. You know, whatever I do, any lifestyle change from crypto, including XRP, super duper, I personally don't have interest in doing it, especially if it's structured this way. But if there's any, look, it increases freedom. And so there will be people that are interested in proceeding that route once this all gets worked out, and more power to them. You know, I still think, like I said my piece on this, I think it's best to engage in self-custody, but for the people that are okay going a different route, maybe there will be certain safeguards in place that aren't sufficiently in place right now, and then that changes the calculus, the way people look at it. Okay. To each their own. I'm just saying. So we'll see what it looks like. Here's what Paul Barron had to say about this. Technologist investor reporting on blockchain, Web3, and investing. He's got a massive YouTube channel. I think he's got like over 1 million subscribers, 163,000 followers on X, but massive YouTube channel. Sharp guy. He's not exclusively covering crypto stuff, but he's on top of it. And he responded here, bullish for crypto. A normalized asset now being looked at as collateral. Real estate just changed forever. Hashtag digital assets. Indeed, Paul Barron, completely agree. You'll love to see it. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.